My name is Dorothy Hayes, and at 73 years old, I thought I'd seen every shade of human nature. I was wrong. I built my fortune the old-fashioned way through grit, sacrifice, and 60-hour weeks running a textile manufacturing business after my husband passed 30 years ago. My son Bradley was 10 then. I gave him everything: private schools, college, a position in my company when he graduated. I gave him my heart. The November evenings started ordinary enough. I'd driven to Bradley's beautiful colonial home in Connecticut, the one I'd helped him buy, carrying homemade apple pie, his favorite since childhood. I knocked. No answer. The door was unlocked, so I stepped inside, calling out, "Bradley? Melissa?" Then I heard it. Laughter. Cruel laughter from the kitchen. I walked toward the sound, my heels clicking on the hardwood floor I'd admired so many times. As I rounded the corner, I saw them. My son Bradley, 43 years old, standing beside his wife Melissa, their faces twisted with something I'd never seen directed at me before: contempt. Well, Melissa said, her voice dripping with mockery. "Look who decided to drop by unannounced again." I held up the pie, confused. "We don't want your pie, Dorothy," Bradley interrupted. His voice was cold, foreign. What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. Bradley grabbed my arm, not gently, not like a son, like someone removing an inconvenience. Melissa opened the back door, the one leading to the patio, made entirely of glass panels. "You know what, Mother?" Bradley said, and I barely recognized this man as the boy I'd rocked to sleep, the teenager I'd comforted through heartbreak. "We're done pretending, Bradley." "What? You're broke," Melissa spat. "You're useless. You have nothing left to offer us." The words hit harder than what came next. Bradley shoved me hard. I stumbled backward, my hands reaching for something, anything. The pie fell. Then I crashed through the glass door. The sound was tremendous. Glass shattering, tinkling, raining down around me. I felt the cuts opening on my arms, my face. Warm blood running down my cheeks, mixing with tears I didn't remember. Starting to cry, I lay there on the cold patio stones, bleeding, stunned. Bradley stood in the doorway, Melissa beside him. They didn't rush to help. They didn't call for an ambulance. "Clean yourself up and leave," Bradley said. "And don't come back unless you have something to offer us." Melissa laughed. Actually laughed. Then they shut the door. What remained of it? I don't know how long I lay there. The November wind was bitter. Blood pooled beneath me. My mind couldn't process what had just happened. Finally, I pulled myself up. Glass fell from my clothes. Every movement hurt. I walked to my car somehow, leaving a trail of blood drops on their pristine driveway. I drove home on autopilot. My hands shook on the wheel. Blood stained the leather seats. That night, I sat in my bathroom, carefully removing glass shards from my skin with tweezers. Each piece I dropped into the sink made a tiny sound, like wind chimes, like broken dreams. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Instead, I made phone calls. First, to Martin Chen, my attorney for 25 years. "Martin, I need you to activate the trust fund. The one Bradley doesn't know about. The one I set up last year when I started suspecting something was wrong. Dorothy, it's 3 in the morning. Are you all right? I need you to freeze all of Bradley's assets. Everything I helped him acquire. The house, the business accounts, everything with my name or money attached." "That's extensive." "Dorothy, what happened?" "Just do it, Martin, by morning, and file a police report for assault." Second call was to my accountant, Rebecca Stone. "Rebecca, remember that offshore trust I established? The 21 million Bradley thinks I lost in bad investments? The one he doesn't know exists? That's the one. I need you to make it absolutely untouchable by anyone but me. Consider it done." You see, I hadn't told Bradley everything about my business. When I sold the company 3 years ago, I told him gotten 5 million. I'd actually gotten 26 million. The rest I'd hidden, testing him, watching, waiting to see if he loved me or my money. Now I knew. By dawn, I'd made 15 more calls to the bank, to the mortgage company, to business associates, To the country club where Bradley was a member on my membership. Then I waited. My phone rang at 7:30. Bradley. I let it ring. It rang 17 times that morning. Then Melissa started calling. I blocked both numbers. At noon, Martin called back. Dorothy, it's done. Everything's frozen. And the police want to speak with you about pressing charges. Thank you, Martin. There's more. Bradley showed up at my office an hour ago. He's frantic. The mortgage company just informed him they're foreclosing. Apparently, you were the co-signer and primary payer on that house. I smiled. It hurt my cut lip, but I smiled anyway. His business accounts are frozen too, Martin continued. His credit cards declined. Dorothy, he's got nothing. Everything was tied to you somehow. Good. Over the next week, I learned everything. Bradley hadn't worked a real day in 2 years. I'd been paying his mortgage, his car payments, his country club fees, all while he told me he was doing incredibly well and didn't need help. Melissa's family was broke. She'd married Bradley thinking he was independently wealthy because I'd made him look that way by supporting everything from the shadows. My doorbell rang 8 days after the incident. I opened it to find Bradley. He looked terrible. Unshaven, rumpled clothes, dark circles under his eyes. Mom, please. We need to talk. I said nothing, just looked at him. The stranger who came from my body. I'm sorry, he said, and he was crying. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to me. We're losing everything. The house, the cars. Melissa left me. Her parents came and got her 3 days ago. Still, I said nothing. Please, Mom. I'm your son. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But you're my mother. You have to forgive me. I finally spoke. My voice was quiet, calm. You threw me through a glass door. You called me broke and useless. You laughed while I bled. I know. I was angry. Melissa had been telling me things, saying you were trying to control our lives, and you believed her instead of me. You chose cruelty instead of love. Mom, please. I'm begging you. I stepped back and began closing the door. Wait. What about forgiveness? What about family? You always taught me about second chances. I paused. I did teach you that. I also taught you about consequences, about treating people with dignity, about love. You remember what else I taught you? Bradley? He shook his head, tears streaming. I taught you that a person's true character shows when they think there's nothing left to gain. You showed me who you really are. So that's it? You're just cutting me off forever? No, I said softly. I'm letting you learn what it means to build something yourself, like I did when your father died and left me with nothing but debt and a 10-year-old son. I could have given up. Instead, I worked. I sacrificed. I built an empire from nothing. Now, you'll have that chance too. But I don't know how. Then you'll learn. Or you won't. Either way, it's not my responsibility anymore. I closed the door. That was 6 months ago. I heard through mutual acquaintances that Bradley moved to a small apartment, got a job at a warehouse. Melissa filed for divorce within a month. Last week, I received a letter, handwritten, from Bradley. Dear Mom, I don't expect you to read this. I don't deserve your time, but I need to say this anyway. You were right about everything. I was entitled. Cruel. I took your love for granted and treated you like an ATM instead of my mother. What I did was unforgivable. I'm not writing to ask for money or help. I'm writing to tell you that I finally understand. Working 12-hour days at the warehouse has taught me more about life than my 43 years before it. I understand now what you gave up for me, what you built for us. I'm ashamed of who I became, but I'm trying to become someone better, someone you might have been proud of once. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I finally see clearly. And what I see is that I destroyed the most precious thing I had, your love. I'm sorry, Mom, for everything. Your son, Bradley. I folded the letter carefully and placed it in my desk drawer. Do I forgive him? I don't know yet. Forgiveness isn't a switch you flip. It's a door you open slowly, carefully, testing whether the person on the other side has truly changed. But I'll tell you this. I sleep peacefully now. The cuts healed, leaving only faint scars. Reminders, not of cruelty, but of my own strength. At 73, I learned that sometimes the greatest act of love is letting someone fall, so they can learn to stand on their own, and sometimes the deepest wisdom is knowing when to close a door glass or otherwise. My 21 million sits safely in that trust. Waiting. For what? I'm not entirely sure yet. Maybe for grandchildren I've never met. Maybe for charity. Maybe for Bradley if he truly becomes someone worthy of it. But that's a decision for tomorrow. For now, I'm content. Alone, but not lonely. Hurt, but not broken. Because I finally understand that I don't need anyone's approval to know my worth. Not even my son's. And that, my friends, is the most valuable lesson of all.